How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to my series on the ancient copper mining in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Headless Giant on YouTube and on X. I had a chance to sit down with him Saturday. We talked about the dolmens that I had mentioned in my most recent video and his theories about the Phoenicians, and the video is up on his YouTube, so go check that out. I'll also drop a link in the description. Go give him a like and a subscribe, and he's got a lot of good content he puts out consistently. When you think of mounds in America, you think of the mound builders such as the Hopewell or Mississippian, the mounds in Cahokia, and all these are mainly located in southern Midwestern states in the South, such as Ohio, Illinois, Georgia. And there were a lot of mounds in the lower peninsula of Michigan, but most of them that used to be there have been wiped away, and the ones that are existing, only a handful are open to the public. The rest are mostly on private property. But one place you don't really hear about for the mound builders is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Now, there are a lot of smaller burial mounds, but there's no documentation on any large-scale mounds. The most prominent area for these smaller burial mounds in Michigan's Upper Peninsula is in Menominee, along the Menominee River. And historically, I do believe on the east shore of Lake Gogebic, on the property of a resort, there were also found a handful of smaller burial grounds. As these smaller type of mounds are expected to be found in these areas, as they were once extremely frequented by the Native Americans, what you don't hear about are pyramidal or large conical type mounds. On the south end of Lake Gogebic, along the Slate River, is a large dome-shaped mound. And I've been driving past it and looking at it my whole life, and I always suspected that it looked out of place. And I believe that it is a large conical mound. There is no documentation, no archaeological studies or work done. And if there is, well, it's not published anywhere. I've gone through history books of Gogebic County, of Lake Gogebic, of the Upper Peninsula itself, and even the resort that was built nearby. The road that they built specifically for this resort in the 1800s went right past this mound, and it is not mentioned at all. One could use the argument that it is a natural geological formation, but I would beg to differ on the argument that I've lived in this area my whole life, and I've never seen any other geological formations that make a perfectly circular domed hill. Most of the geology around here is sheer cliff faces, rocky bluffs, and rolling fields and hills, but nothing that looks like this at all. This is an image that I was able to get off of Google Earth, and you can see that it is perfectly domed, round. And this next picture is of the USGS LiDAR, quote-unquote LiDAR, that they have on their website, which is actually a pretty neat program to use. I'd recommend it just looking around the US. It's pretty fun to play with. Now, as I said, the structure is almost perfectly round at the base. It has some ridges quarter of the way up, but it is a gradual incline all the way up to the top, where it sort of flattens out a little bit, but it's pretty rounded at the top for the most part. And the soil it's made out of is gravel on the first few layers, and then under that it is beach sand. Very, very fine, not many rocks, if any at all. Now, when you're standing on the top of this mound, looking directly north on a clear day, and if the trees weren't covered in leaves, you would be able to see all the way to the northern end of Lake Gogebic, which is approximately 17 miles. I was just up at this site about 2 weeks ago, and I finally got some good footage, or at least what I think would be some good footage, of just taking a walk up and around the hill. And the brush is very thick. It's late spring, almost summer here, and all the leaves and trees and weeds are all growing up and taking over in the woods right now. Here, cousin back there walking with me, a little metal detecting today. But yeah, it starts to go up right there. So I get up to the top, I'll kind of do a bit of a panoramic up there, a little better sight. We're about halfway up it. You see Tyler way up there. And as you can tell, it's a domed hill. You have some USGA website that shows some LiDAR images around the country. They're very minimal LiDAR, but you can definitely see it's a domed hill. There's nothing else in the area that's even geologically similar to this. almost a perfect circle around the base. Domed hill here. Yeah. No one's ever talked about this anywhere. I don't know. Never read anything online. Nothing in any books on mounds across the U.S. Nothing in the Bureau of Ethnology papers from the 1800s that are discovering these areas. So, yeah, pretty neat. I'd like to someday hopefully get confirmation. Not quite sure how exactly. Unless I get someone that actually knows how to identify mounds up here and show them. So yeah. Hopefully eventually someday we'll get some answers on this, but and there's no lead up anywhere for to use the argument that they dumped dirt here as a slag pile making the roads, because there's no ramps or anything leading up that a dump truck would be able to use at all. Yeah, it's pretty gradual, consistent slope the whole way down on this whole area. So we came up, walked up over here, came around this way. Yeah. If it was a clear day, you'd be able to see the lake, or if there's no leaves, you'd be able to see all the way to the north end of the lake there, which is about 17 miles. So, and this is the southernmost tip of the lake. So maybe we'll see if we can find something. As I've said, there's zero documentation on this mound anywhere. And when I picked up Gregory L. Little's Encyclopedia of Native American Mounds and Earthworks, Michigan only has 3 pages dedicated to it. And in those 3 pages, there are only 12 sites documented. And only one of those sites is in the UP in Baraga. It is believed that Michigan has an extremely restricted database for its mounds and complexes, and any mounds and complexes that existed when industrialization first took over the UP have been destroyed. I believe in the entire state of Michigan, I read that 95% of the mounds and complexes have been destroyed. There is one more large mound that I've been made aware of, possibly existing 6 miles from the mouth of the Ontonagon River in Ontonagon, Michigan. And this mound has been dubbed the Ontonagon Pyramid. I have not been able to find too much information on it, nor have I been able to get to the site of the pyramid, as it's on private property, hoping I can eventually try to get permission. I know people that have been there and know the owner of the property, so it seems pretty plausible that I can get up there, hopefully this summer. There are a few articles online that I found about it, and it was also mentioned in The Prehistoric Copper Mining in the Lake Superior region by Dreyer and Du Temple. I will also put that in the link as well. With the early explorers in the 1800s saying they had either seen or had been told of a large Indian pyramidal mound on the banks of the Ontonagon River. The structure has 3 sides and a flat platform on top. It rises 70 feet above the river level, and one corner of the mound is in perfect bearing with true north. In 1980, James P. Schertz of the University of Wisconsin was able to survey the mound, and he asserted there are not 1 but 2 mounds. He also noted that the 2 southern edges of the hills are on a common east to west line. Schertz also noted a relationship of the 2 mounds to the rising sun on the equinox. Unfortunately, I do not have any pictures of the Ontonagon Pyramid, but hopefully in the future I will be able to get up there and get some. That's definitely another location I have added to my list of places to go this summer. Based on the pictures and the videos that I shared of the mound on Lake Gogebic, what are your thoughts on if it's an Indian mound, natural, or more modern? I argue against it being made in modern times, as there's no roads leading up to it, no ramps or anything that you could get large machinery to bring the dirt up and dump it on top. As for geological like I said, in the immediate area or anywhere nearby, there is nothing else that looks remotely like this. And it doesn't match up with anything else that is for sure natural. And I'm sure if there's one, possibly two in the UP that are still here, who's to say there weren't so many more back before the mining and logging industries took over in the UP. And it's a damn shame that most of these have all been destroyed, and a lot of it either tucked away in the basements of museums or in personal collections, and they'll never see the light of day. So if you do ever end up getting in these areas, please respect it. These were here long before we were, and they will be here a long time after, as long as we show the respect and conservation of these sites. I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on it are. Let me know if you know of any other large mountain sites and complexes in the Upper Peninsula that are not easily accessible or that you cannot find anywhere online or in books. I think it would be really cool if we could add more sites in the UP to the mound building culture. I hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget, the first weekend in October is the Ancient Artifact Preservation Society's 20th anniversary conference in Harris, Michigan. Link below in the description for tickets and any more information you want to know about it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.